All right, let's just jump right in. We've all seen them, right? The pictures on social media, that classic Japa success story. The brand new SUV parked outside the family home in Lagos or Accra. The story we're told is so simple. Just get to the West, work hard, and the money practically prints itself. But as an economist, I've got to tell you, this easy money idea is probably one of the most dangerous myths out there for West African immigrants. So today, we're going to tear that myth down and build a real practical playbook for wealth.
This right here, this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the number one mistake we all make. You see $1,000, and your brain instantly does the math, and suddenly you're looking at millions of naira or thousands of cedis. It feels like you've hit the jackpot. But this is the fatal flaw in that whole way of thinking. We forget to subtract the cost of existence. The cost of just living. And this is where the rubber meets the road. You don't just earn in dollars, you breathe, you eat, you sleep in dollars. That rent, it's in dollars. Groceries, insurance, taxes, it's all in dollars. So that amazing exchange rate advantage you were dreaming about, poof. It gets chewed up almost instantly by the crazy high cost of living. And that's before the calls from back home start asking you to send something small. This is the trap, right here, that keeps so many of us just spinning our wheels. Okay, so let's really start breaking this down. Let's unpack the first massive hurdle, the true cost of existence. This is where you really feel that financial squeeze. And believe me, it all starts with the pressure to send money back home. And look, this chart paints a pretty clear picture, doesn't it? For so many of us, a huge slice of that paycheck isn't even for you. It's for what we call the black tax. If you think about it in economic terms, it's like an informal social security system. You, the expat, aren't just one person anymore. All of a sudden, you're the pension fund for your parents, you're the scholarship board for your cousins, and you're the emergency relief fund for your entire village. That is a heavy, heavy weight to carry. Let's just be honest. It's a huge burden. And in economics, we have a name for this: opportunity cost. Every single dollar you send home for a funeral or a hospital bill or some other quick fix, that's a dollar you are not putting into an investment that could grow, like a diversified ETF. It's a dollar you're not saving for a down payment on your own home. It's a dollar you're not using to build your future. So if we want to build real wealth, something has to change. It all comes down to a critical mindset shift. We have to move from this emotional, reactive giving to planned, strategic budgeting. Yeah, that means setting a cap on remittances. I know it might sound harsh, but think about it. If you don't, you're not just helping your family today, you're actually setting yourself up to become a burden on the next generation. You're just keeping the cycle going. But listen, the financial squeeze isn't just about your personal budget. There's a whole other layer to this puzzle. The systemic barriers, the professional hurdles that can stop you from ever reaching your true earning potential in the first place. Let's get into these. First up, you've got credentialing bias. This is the tough pill to swallow when you realize that your years of high-level experience back in Ghana or Nigeria might be valued at, well, basically zero when you arrive. Then you've got the visa trap. This one's a killer. If your legal right to even be in the country is tied to one specific employer, your power to negotiate for a better salary is almost non-existent. And this visa trap has a direct economic effect. It gives you a really low elasticity of labor. So what does that mean in plain English? It means you're handcuffed. You can't just quit a job with a bad salary or a toxic boss because your visa depends on it. You lose the ability to threaten to leave for a better offer, and that absolutely cripples your power to demand what you're actually worth. And finally, on top of all of that, there's the challenge of social capital. It's basically who you know. Most of us arrive without those built-in networks that other people just take for granted. We don't have an uncle who can make a phone call to a friend at a big company to get our resume a second look. We have to build our professional network from scratch at the exact same time we're trying to climb it. And that's exactly why we have to be twice as smart, twice as strategic with our human capital. Constantly learning, getting new certifications, upskilling. That isn't just a nice way to get ahead. For the West African expat, it is a fundamental, non-negotiable survival mechanism to even have a chance at overcoming these systemic disadvantages. Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, and I know it can sound pretty bleak. But the question is, how do we actually win this game? Let's pivot away from the problems and get into the playbook. I'm talking 3 concrete, strategic steps you can take to build real financial independence. All right, here's the game plan. In theory, it's pretty simple, but man, it takes discipline. Number 1, you've got to change the way you think about remittances. Number 2, you need to reframe your side hustle. And number 3, you absolutely have to understand how wealth is actually built in a Western economy. So let's start with number one. Instead of all the money you send home going towards consumption, things like weddings or bills, start pivoting a chunk of that money into income-generating assets back home. I'm talking about things like land, agriculture, or maybe investing in a local tech startup. You've got to turn that money from a short-term fix into a long-term asset that can actually support your family for generations to come. Second, let's talk about your side hustle. I want you to stop thinking of it as just extra cash. Think of it as your personal R&D lab. Whether you're consulting, doing e-commerce, or creating content, this is how you build the capital that your regular 9-to-5 paycheck, after it's been eaten up by taxes and expenses, simply cannot provide. This is your seed money for real investments. And third, listen, this might be the most important part of this entire conversation. You have to invest. A high-yield savings account is not going to cut it. Low-cost index funds and other assets aren't just for other people. In an economy like the US, inflation will eat your savings alive. You don't get wealthy by saving money in a bank. You get wealthy by owning things, owning assets that grow faster than inflation. So let's bring this all home. At the end of the day, the very first step is to completely throw out that myth of easy money and redefine what the goal even is. Because the real prize isn't a quick win. It's something way deeper, way more durable. Real wealth isn't about the number in your investment account or a flashy car. It's about resilience. It's about building a financial foundation so solid that it literally changes the entire trajectory of your family line. It's about making sure the next generation starts from a place of strength, not from square one. Now, I gotta be real with you. This journey is not easy. Not at all. Building wealth as a West African expat is like trying to run a marathon directly into a strong headwind. It's hard. It can be incredibly lonely, and it takes an immense amount of discipline. But, and this is the key, it is absolutely possible if you stop chasing the illusion of easy money and start strategically building real wealth. So I'm going to leave you with a question, and I really want you to think about it. Take a hard look at your own strategy. How are you balancing the pressures of today with the absolute need to build for tomorrow? How are you turning those hard-earned dollars into a lasting legacy? Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out together.